Let's talk about furries. For those of you who don't know, a furry is someone who loves to dress up in a animal costume, and in this animal costume they are fully from head to toe in a wolf, a lion, a cat, a dog, many different types of animals, and they go around and they hold signs and they make squeaky noises and they don't talk. That's one of the biggest key things is they don't talk. Having been to many conventions in my lifetime and having done cosplay before, I have felt very uncomfortable among many furries because they like to come up to random people and hug them, and then when you try to speak to them, they do nothing besides make little and make little squeaky sounds, which honestly really makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't think I've ever been hugged by a furry and not feel uncomfortable, simply because, well, one, they're masked, and two, they don't talk. I don't really mind people being masked, but if they have no interaction and no social skills to actually be able to talk like a normal human being, and rather they're so convoluted into their identity as a furry, a dog, or whatever they want to be, then that just kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. But one of the biggest issues that I have with furries is not the sexualization of it. The same goes for, like, bronies. You know, I find it really disgusting that people sexualize, like, furry. There's furry porn, there's brony porn, My Little Pony porn, and stuff like that. But it's not even so much as the sexualization part, because people can have their kinky fetishes and they want to fap off to hentai-sized titties of cartoons and fucking ponies with dicks and penises. Why did I say dicks and penises? I don't know. They're the same thing. But you know what I mean. They're free to do that. As long as nobody's getting hurt, I don't fucking care what they do to get off on certain things. But what I do have a problem with the brony community and the furry community, and this is primarily about furries, but this can also apply to many other different types of fandoms in general, is people who have to literally flaunt that they're this, or flaunt that they're that. And this goes back even when I was younger, and when I was younger on YouTube, I would always self-proclaim myself and flaunt myself as the world's biggest geek on YouTube. Well, you know what? I stopped doing that because I realized how retarded I always looked by making myself out to be, pretty much flaunting myself as how much of a geek I am. And I've grown to the point of where I don't need to flaunt my interests and my passions, even though I do consider myself a geek. It's just not needed anymore because it makes me look really desperate and wanting to be seeking out for validation of my geekiness. In the same way, I cannot stand furries who flaunt that they're a fucking goddamn furry. It pisses me the fuck off. I don't fucking care what you do in your free time, but the fact that you have to proclaim yourself to the humanity on the internet or in public that I'm a brony or that I'm a furry, and you have to flaunt that identity that you have, I just don't like it. And this isn't even an argument against them. Rather, it's a simple reason for why I fucking hate furries. Is because I've never come into contact with a furry. With all the furries I've interacted with, I've never come in contact with a furry who doesn't have to flaunt their fetish or flaunt their obsession with these fucking animal costumes. When it comes to one's actual sexuality, if you're gay, straight, bisexual, I can understand that because that is part of who you are. But no matter what you say, I will not believe that you are a fucking dragon. I will not believe that you are a fucking dog, and I will not believe that you are a fucking cat. No matter how deeply rooted your identity is in those fucking characters that you are so obsessed with, I will not acknowledge that that is what you are. And that's the problem with a lot of these furries who try to flaunt themselves, is that they want your validation to validate their existence and their identity as this such and such thing. And as I mentioned earlier, this expands not just beyond just furries and bronies, expands in things in general. You are a human being whether you want to acknowledge it or not. If you want to pretend every single day of your life that you are a Ninja Turtle, which is a true thing, there's a documentary on this girl who thinks that she's a Ninja Turtle, by all means, you are free to do that. But do not be upset, do not be offended when you flaunt your fake identity as a Ninja Turtle or a sexualized cat in a costume to me or anyone else when we say that we are uncomfortable and we find that your identity in that particular thing is disgusting. I would never go out of my way purposefully to go up to a furry and say, you know what, you're gross, you make me feel uncomfortable, I don't like you, I hate you. I would never do that. But if they're going to flaunt their identity and flaunt their broniness or their furriness to me, then I am in the full position to respond how I see fit. And if that's me telling them that I find and I fucking hate furries, then so be it. They're putting themselves out there on a platform to be judged when they flaunt themselves as a furry. And they need to come to the realization of that. Because if they don't, well, you're gonna find assholes like me who's gonna speak out about why I don't like them.